All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond Epiphany. Correct, right? Yeah, Beyond Epiphany. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Beyond Epiphany. This is Alan, and today I'm very excited to have a very special guest on with our show. I've known him for quite some time. Most of you would have seen him, whether it is in live show or you know him in person, or you may come across his TikTok as well. He's none other than our stand-up comedian from Brunei, Zainal Bostaman.
Hey. Hi. Hey, Alan.
Actually, this could be one of the weirdest podcasts or weirdest episode for me, is because I've known you for a long time, probably the longest among, like, compared to all the previous guests.
Oh, okay,
it feels so awkward. It's like, okay, now we're gonna officially
go on the podcast. I already mentioned you just now, like the distance of where we're sitting makes it feel like we're not friends at all.
Usually we hug each other when we're talking.
No, just now I was like, no, today's business. Today's podcast business.
Good. Most of us know Zainal as the stand-up comedian, but when I knew him, he was more of like the engineer. And I think maybe we can go down memory lane and kind of like share us a little bit before you became the stand-up comedian that we get to know. Okay. What were you exactly doing?
I work in an oil and gas company that is in KB. I'm not going to say which one.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, you guys kind of know. It rhymes with Brunei Shell Petroleum. I was there for, I think, 6-7 years. I was a Shell scholar. And when I graduated, I became a mechanical engineer. So rotating equipment design engineer. That means anything that's like big and rotating, like an engine or compressor, I look after them in terms of like design. It feels like a long time ago.
I'm like actually surprised you actually still remember the job description.
Yeah, even then it was like maybe because I was like talking about it a lot then. It's kind of embedded in my brain in terms of like a script. Someone the other day asked me like, what exactly did you do? And I'm like, oh, I don't remember. I don't remember at all.
But you need to go offshore, right?
No, I was office-based.
Office-based.
I was office-based, and then basically I look after anytime there's a project that involves having one of our equipments, I would have to come in and tell them the specification. Let's say they're like, we want to pump this much gas here and this distance, and I'm like, let me bring out my calculator, and then I'm like, you need this big. More complex than that, but it's a specialist job. You know what I mean? I remember sitting in for the first week, and then my boss said like, okay, this is how your next 15 years of your career are gonna look like. And I remember going home hyperventilating. I was like, someone planned my 15 years already? I haven't even thought about what next week is going to be. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, was that the beginning? Was that the beginning of thinking about how can I get out of here?
No. I think I was genuinely like trying to... I think when I was younger and not knowing what to do for uni, I remember asking my dad, like, well, what should I take for uni? And then my grades were really good. And he said like, oh... what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. Like when you listen to people talk about their jobs, is there anything that kind of perk up? And I remember saying, I remember you mentioned as like my grandfather, so his dad was a pioneer. Like growing up, I heard that word and I said, that sounds cool, whatever that is. And then I think it's the way that my dad talks about his dad was very like vivid. So as a kid, I was like, whatever that is, I would really want to be. So I told that to my dad. It's like, he said like, oh, you want to be an engineer? And I'm like, no, I want to be a pioneer, whatever that means. And he said, all right, we'll get you an engineering degree first.
I think at that time it's only either engineer, accountant, or IT. Those times, right?
Yeah. For us, like lawyer. My dad grew up wanting to be a lawyer, but he never like pushed it on to us. But engineering had been the go-to when any of my siblings were like, we don't know what to do. Do you know what's good? Engineering.
So how many engineers in the house right now?
Yeah. So So yeah, so some of my siblings benefited from already knowing what they want to do, and then there's a few of us who's kind of like big question mark.
Okay.
My dad's like engineer. It's a solid foundation. Like I remember him saying like, whatever you do after you get your engineering degree, there's a lot more like doors could open. Like you could be a businessman, you could go into law, like just take a bar. You could go into this and that. A lot of options. But engineering is a solid background. And I don't think he meant comedy.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't think at any point he's like, get an engineering degree because you'll be a good comedian afterwards. I don't think that was in his mind at all.
It will help you with planning your punchline.
Yeah. I do. I mean, we can talk about it later, but I do take a lot of what I learned from engineering into doing comedy and running a business. So it's not all that. If you're watching, it's not all like a waste. it's not all waste.
So 7 years in oil and gas. At which point of your career you thought about comedy? Like, was it being introduced to you, or was it more like, I want to quit, so I'm going to look for something else?
This is where we met. Is that I remember giving a presentation as an engineer, and then failing badly. Like I remember, I think it was like the first 6 months of being an engineer, and then I went through a workshop that was 1 month long, and then at the end of the workshop or course, I was supposed to give a presentation, part of my group assignment, in front of other people who also went through the course. So I've been with them for like a month. So I know these people. Like, and then we stayed in the same hotel, so we kind of see each other all the time. But the moment I went on stage, I had like the worst stage fright. Like I couldn't say anything. I'm looking at the slides and nothing makes sense. It went so badly that one of my colleagues went onto the stage, took the pointer and said, "I got this. Go sit down."
Was it that bad? So you didn't finish it at all? You didn't finish the whole thing?
I don't think I even started. I think I got through good morning. It was afternoon. And then I just went, I'm representing and then I think I stood there for like a minute.
Wow.
And then my colleague, my course mate, went up on stage. He's like, I got this, all right. So I sat down. No one else cared about it because it was the end of a 1 month long workshop. So we all wanted to just like, have dinner, relax and go home. But the whole time I was like, I can't believe I did that. Like I need to get this handled. So I went online. I found Toastmasters. I signed up for a membership immediately. I think I went through one meeting and said, yes, I need to get this part of my life handled.
Was it Autos or BSc at that time?
It was BSc.
Okay.
I went to the one in Gadong at the time.
Yep. Simon Voktek.
Yep. Met some wonderful people, and then I think within like the first meeting, I already convinced my friend Jerry.
Okay.
He was like, I'm gonna join, and Jerry's like, oh, me too.
That was what, 2013, 2012?
Is it 12?
Was it? I don't know, because you joined way earlier than me.
9, 10, 11.
11,
12,
okay.
11.
Oh, that's long.
It's been a while. Yeah.
It's been that long.
And then during the whole journey of trying to like be better at public speaking, I went to Singapore for a short assignment. And when I was there, a friend of mine said like, hey, you're a Toastmaster. You want to go to a Toastmaster meeting? And I'm like, I've been to a few. They're kind of like the same meeting everywhere in the world. And then my friend said, or we could go to a comedy club. And I hear they do open mics and we can have a look. I'm like, oh. I had no interest in comedy at the time. I sat down and then I watched an open mic, which is just established with new comedians trying out material in front of, a crowd. Cheap tickets on a weekday. So it's supposed to be low stake. So just trying out material. And then I was so inspired because none of them were funny.
And it gave you hope. I
said, the bar is so low. I should join. I asked the host and who runs the night, like, how does one join? And he's like, oh, you just show up next week and, we give you 2 minutes. And I'm like, I'm a Toastmaster. Maybe I can get 5 minutes. And he's like, I don't care who you are. I said, I want some humorous speech competition somewhere. And, I went to Jakarta, and they're like, I don't care. 2 minutes.
You can't change the world in 1 second, but you could change our life for the better in the next 1 second by clicking the subscribe button. Yes, you heard it right. By subscribing to this channel, you would help us to get more attention, more visibility, so that we can go out there and invite more guests onto the show and share their life story. So what are you waiting for? Change someone's life in the next 1 second by clicking that subscribe button.
And I don't know, I think I was like in my mid-20s. I was like, I'm the big stuff. I don't know why I thought that. So I went, took me a month to build up the courage to go sign up for open mic. I got all my colleagues at the time there and my friends to come and watch me. I think there were like 20 of them. And then I said, you might be the only one in the club.
So you get enough people so that if no one laughs, you have 20 people who's gonna laugh.
No, so I told them, like, if you guys laugh at my punchlines, also if they ask you, like the host asks you, like, who are you, say you don't know me. And they're like, yeah, okay, cool. So I went on stage, they called me up, like, Zainal from Brunei. And then I did my 2 minutes, but no one laughed. Then my 2 minute material shrunk to 1 minute. Because I was like, okay, thank you, bye. And then I sat down. No one laughed, Like I brought 20 people. None of them laughed.
Not even the 20 of them.
No. I think there were 25 people in the room. 20 of them were my guests, and none of them laughed. And then when the host went back on stage, she was like, how was Zainal? That was bad. Anyone here know Zainal? And then my close friend at the time, Pierre, he stood up and he was like, we don't know him. I was like, hey, you following the instruction? I asked him afterwards, afterwards we were downstairs and they were about to go home. I'm like, how come none of you laugh at my punchlines? And they're like, we don't know where they were. But that got me hooked. I was like, I really enjoy this. It wasn't so much like, and I'm glad I bombed. I think I bombed bomb is the term used where you don't do well in the comedy setting. Maybe 5-6 times. So I went there 5-6 weeks in a row, just trying out stuff, and I got no laughs for the first 5-6 weeks, and I'm very thankful of that, because part of me was like, I'm gonna crack this. I'm gonna see how to do this, because I'm hanging out with the comics afterwards, and we're like making each other laugh. So I'm like, there might be a different skill set to making strangers laugh on stage. So at the time, I was like more interested in learning what that skill set was.
So was it more of a desire was it more of like a self-development thing, or was it like competitiveness? Like I could do this more, like I want to prove myself that I could do this, I could do it for 2 minutes. Which one was it?
Yeah, I mean a mix of both. I think I recognized that, initially it was like just a fear of stage, right? And I thought like, just exposure. Like the more you go on stage, the more you get like really good feedback, then you kind of like, you build up a room full of evidence that, you can stand in front of a crowd and talk. And then I was like, okay. So I've always I think very early on, I'm very reluctant to hear the word, what was it? Like nature. So it's like, that guy's funny. That's in his nature. He's confident on stage. That's his nature.
He's born with that.
And maybe 10%. The 90% is like, you gotta work on it. You gotta have good instructions, have good feedback loop and all of that. So anytime whether it's fitness, it's business, it's like comedy, public speaking, confidence, all of that, I always thought like, this is a skill. So it was, I think in my mid-20s, I was still like very much like, comedy is a skill, I think. And I was like, let's see whether I have like 5 months to prove whether I'm right or wrong. So when I first got the big laugh out of my material in Singapore, there was a part of me who was like, I knew it. I haven't changed as a person, you know what I mean? Like there was nothing traumatic happening. Suddenly my sense of humor is like the next level. It was just like, I just need to write this differently, or I need to use this here, or I need to surprise them more, or something like that. So all of that is just technique. So I remember thinking it was more like the engineering part of my brain going, how can I figure this out? And it wasn't like, I don't think, maybe there was a part of like validation seeking. It was very minimal.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, laugh at my jokes because then I feel good. It was just like, here's a skill and you guys are providing feedback immediately. That's great.
Yep.
That loop being so short. Like since then I've been writing like scripts, I've been writing like speeches and stuff like that. Sometimes, things for camera. Whatever you write, whatever you thing, and then you upload, and then people say, good job. That could take like 3 weeks. And that's so long. Whereas comedy, stand-up comedy is so immediate. Like, here's a setup and a punchline. No one's laughing. Like, okay.
Got the feedback.
Yeah, that's the feedback. Thank you very much. What if I do it like this? Oh, feedback, good. So that loop, I remember in my 20s going borderline addictive. You know what I mean?
So that, when you get that, wouldn't say like validations, but when you get that laughter, right, you knew you gotten better at the skill already. How did it grew into more like, I think I want to do this even more often?
I think it was just, I managed to make them laugh for like one joke. I'm going to make them 2 jokes, 3 jokes. And then suddenly they're like, oh, you made them laugh nonstop for 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, great. Because you did that a couple of times. And then the club was like, you want to do 3 minutes? I'm like, yeah. And then 3 minutes, like, they're laughing still at 2, but the final one, they're not laughing so much. Okay, I need to. So it became like because I was always into video games as well. So it became like a easily trackable level up thing. Then after 3 minutes, it's 5 minutes, and 5 minutes is 7, it's 10. So it really tickled the part of my brain that enjoyed that structured way, because a lot of people would see a creative or entertainment endeavor just like it's such an art.
Correct.
And I never approached it that way. I was very early on. I was approaching it from a
Science.
engineering point of view. So for me, it's always been like, this is a joke. It doesn't work. I'm not bad. The joke is just not good. So it was very easy for me to separate.
I think that's a very good mindset, because we really thought it's born natural. We really thought like you just have to be better at it only. We won't cut this out, okay? Just so that you know what happened. It's supposed to be like a commercial break. We're like, now we're into the groove right now. So no, you're gonna tell the cameraman, we are not going on a commercial break, okay, guys? We are not.
Yeah, I wasn't aware. Maybe he's just like, I would like a break.
That was the punchline.
Okay. I was like, go to the toilet.
So you laughed. So it was good feedback for him. He's like, okay, this worked. Yeah. So yeah. Now we're gonna continue. Okay. Where was I? Okay, because you've gotten it already. Then you come back. It's like, okay, it's good. You approach it from more scientific point of view, more engineering. Try, error, and then you found a pattern to it.
Yeah.
And then part of you say, I want more, because I think they got you really well. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. It's more like a proof on evidence of you improving, right?
Yeah. And then it's easy for me. That's why people, now we run workshops. And I always tell people not to aim too much. It's like, I want to write a 5-minute set. I'm like, let's start with 2 minutes. Like, if you can't be like, I can't be funny if it's just only 2 minutes. I'm like, if you can't be funny at 2 minutes, why would we give you 5? You know what I mean?
So you became the guy who was dismissive before.
Yeah. But I understand where he was coming from also, because he was like, who are you? Like, who do you think? We've been talking for 10 minutes. You made me laugh 0 times. I'm like, he said that.
Wow.
So I said, I'll show you. And he was right.
It was very blunt, but I think it's this kind of people being very honest that helps us to grow the fastest.
Yeah. I looked at it from his point of view as well. Now that I've been in the industry for a while, people do come up to you and say like, how does one be funny? And then you're like, I can talk to you for 2 hours. and then you never show up for the workshop or the taster class or the open mic. I just wasted 2 hours. Like, I love talking about comedy, like, but that just felt like, oh, you just wanted to scratch an itch, like,
True.
talk about comedy.
True.
So maybe he's been around for a while that he's like, I've had this conversation so many times and they don't show up. So, because after I did the open mic and bomb the first time, I went back up into the bar, in Singapore bar, and then I saw the same guy who told me to just come and do, don't talk too much, just show up. And then he told me like, now we can talk. I mean, like, and I appreciate that because like he was very much like, I can talk all the time, and people can listen all the time, but where's the action?
Yep.
So when I showed up and I bombed, he's like, okay, this guy at least showed up, and he wants some tips. I can give him a little bit. So I think within like he kept giving me notes. Like I never got better for the first like 5-6 weeks. There was a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not making them laugh, but they're listening to my words. And then he said like, oh, that's good for now.
Are you still in contact with him right now?
No, sadly, a couple of years ago he passed.
Oh, okay.
So it was a lot of people around the region really like owe their career to him, including myself, because like he was, this Australian man who came over to Asia, and then he was in Singapore for a while. He was in KL for a while. He opened up a few comedy clubs here and there, and then a lot of people were like see him as a mentor, like mentor type of relationship. My interaction with him very short. Like I was only in Singapore for 6 months, and then, but it was enough for me to go like, we owe a lot to that guy lah.
Yeah, the seed was planted, and then it just pivot you away into something else as well.
Yeah.
So like engineering was here, and then you have like comedy here. When did comedy overtake engineering?
Oh. All right. Do we really not want to take a break?
We can take a break. We're on a commercial break right now. I was surprised to find out that a lot of you who are watching this show has not subscribed to our channel. And I asked my team why. And they said maybe because they couldn't find the subscribe button. Could it be here, or even here? Wherever it is, if you're wondering, look out for that bell-shaped button and hit subscribe so that you can get the latest update for our show. Now, back to the current show. All right, welcome back from the break.
Oh, it's been on?
Okay, so that was the early part of how you were being introduced to the scene of comedy.
Yeah.
Like before the break, we were talking about like when did comedy overtake engineer? Like, could you run us through like briefly? When was the part where at night you were sleeping and you'd be thinking like maybe there is a opportunity?
It was very late on. I think I do not think it was there was an overlap. So I came back from Singapore and then I said, I want to start something here in Brunei. I convinced some of my funny friends to go through a workshop that I came up with.
On the plane.
Looking back, it was just like, this is so audacious. I was just like, why did I think I could do that? But I had a lot of like goodwill with the Toastmasters people who, when I told them like, I've read 3 books. I've done several open mics. Sometime I did well. And I would like to start something in Brunei. If anyone would like to go through this workshop with me, and then we'll put on like a show at the end of it, then it'll be great. And I think we went to like 4 weeks of like weekly meetup, me sharing like exercises and stuff like that. And then we help each other's material. We put on a small show. Free at our friend Ruben and Jordan's office in Batu Satu. It was their office, and it's just like we can move the computers to the side, chairs, and then put on this. We still have the video of us setting it up on BruHaha Comedy, and I remember that people enjoyed it so much that they gave me a feeling like, maybe this could be my hobby. I could be running this on the side, a few of my funny friends, and then I would, do a little bit of time as well on stage. And then, at no point when I quit BSP, when I quit Shell, my job as an engineer, at no point did I thought comedy was the thing.
Okay.
It wasn't like I'm gonna quit engineering to be a comedian. It was not that.
So you were quitting to take a break.
I was quitting to not be an engineer. that was the
But what were you thinking? Like, what was the backup? None.
Zero. Which is reckless on my part. If I as a 37-year-old man tell my 27-year-old boy, like maybe not do that immediately. Like I would have tried. I would have tried to see whether I could start a few business, see whether it will catch up to my income, and then transition slowly. But at the time, I think I just did not enjoy what I was doing.
How was it like in the early days of being not having any office job and only thinking of BruHaha? Like, what were your routine every day aside from waking up in sweat? It's like, okay, I need to move to another place.
For like trying to be as transparent as possible. I remember trying to do everything. I was trying to. This is so seductive to just like, okay, I'll try 7 things to see whether any of the 7 will stick. And then knowing now, but I was also like, it's kind of, I have friends now who's like around that age, 27, 28, who they're in their late 20s, they got some energy and resources, and they're like, I have 3 years to succeed. Like they're giving themselves this pressure. So would I focus on one thing for 3 years, or should I focus on 7 things for 3 years, and hopefully one will stick at the end? I'm very reluctant to go, no, just reduce the number to maybe 7 is too much, maybe 3, 2, 1. But I was in that position, and I know if someone older told me to just focus, I would have been like, what do you know, old man? Of course you wouldn't do it because you're tired, because you're old.
There's always this rebellious side of us, right? We just want to rebel.
The rebel of like, oh, you couldn't make it work, so you're trying to discourage me, something like that.
I think it fuels you more, right? That you want to do more things because you're trying to prove someone else wrong. I will do 8.
Yeah, you think I'll struggle at 7? I'll do 10. And then you can't sleep, and you're like, is it because I'm doing 10? No, I'm not going to listen to that old man.
In denial.
In denial, yeah.
Suffering for another 2 more 3 years, and you're like, I wish I listened to that old man like 3 years ago.
Yeah. If I told, I think I got that advice. I think if I recall, it's either like, I think Clovis, one of our mutual friends from Toastmasters, I could have sworn he did sit me down. It's like, you're doing a lot. you want to scale it down? And I'm like, whatever, old man. And it's really good advice. I was not ready to listen to it. And I'm very worried about me as in now in this position, where I do see some of my younger friends like, oh, I'm doing all these things, and I've got 7 things going on in one go. And I'm like, maybe they need to go through this. They just have to go through it. Like everyone has to go through it.
How long did it take until you have your first, I wouldn't say breakthrough, because you're on BruHaha, you definitely want to put up a show, right? Just to get in some revenue and all this. How many months since you?
And this is something that I know you have talked to me about it over the years. And I have a lot of other, people in the business industry looking at BruHaha saying like, is this a business? And for the longest time, I did not treat it as such. It was a project-based enterprise of just like a bunch of people who want to be funny. So I always say like, I think maybe 2018, 2019.
2018, 2019?
Well, maybe 6 years after we started doing shows is when we started looking at it as a business. But the early days, it was just like, hey, you want to put on something in the next 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks? Yeah, let's put on something. So all the money part is just to cover the expenses of like Moha application, the venue, giving people like, "Hey, thanks for your time, thanks for helping out." Like people were helping us out at the door, as an usher, those things just to cover. But we were never like looking at it as a business that needs to churn every single month of each, blah, blah, blah. So it was just before COVID hit that we started looking at it as a business, and then COVID.
So that you left Shell in 2015. So from 2015 to 2018, that you finally decided to see BruHaha as a business, right? That 3 years, how was the life like?
So transparency, like I just want to share a lot in terms of so people know what the finance part of things were.
Yep.
So when I stopped working for Shell, I think I had around, because I remember telling to my friends like, oh, I could buy another one of my car, or 1.5 of my car. So my car was like 70K.
That was like 100.
70, so like 105 in the bank. And I said like, that's how much I had saving. Because I didn't have expensive tastes as a, and they paid a lot. Also, I went through that period of time with like 2 years I was overseas for a project, and they gave me a lot of like allowances, and my gaji was still like going.
Yep.
So I managed to save a lot, came back home, and I said, I think I can live off this for like a year to just like figure things out, right? And then that grew to
3 years.
10 years. but during that time, I had odd jobs because people knew that I was doing comedy. I think people knew that I could write. So some of them pay me like, can you write this script for us? Which is like project based, $100 to $200 per project type of thing. But it's just something that comes in lah. But a lot of it during that period of time, I was living off my savings. It was only, and I ran out of savings a year into COVID.
Oh, you know, wow, that's very long. Because I remember during then you went to UK. Was it UK?
I went to UK. I was
States.
in KL. I was in New York. So if I didn't do those trips, I think I would have stretched it a little bit more. But because of those trips, it replenished, like it went down very fast.
So I think one element I think we have to appreciate you sharing is about the financial side, because for a lot of us who wants to start business or want to venture into something, right?
Yeah.
Not every one of us would be fortunate to be in a positions where we have more financial safety.
Yeah.
Because when you don't have it, every decision is more pressured.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm running out of fuel already.
I have yet to write a joke about this, but there's a stubborn part of me who didn't want to let go of my car, like my current, the car that I got as an engineer, right? Even though that's not a car a creative or
Should be driving.
shouldn't be driving anymore. I should let that immerse go. But it was a part of me which is like, that was the last thing that I'm holding on to.
I guess it would like be a very mixed feeling sitting in that car, right? Counting those. Was it really torturing? Was it mentally draining you? Like, what am I doing with my life right now? Were you more assured, more determined to push through? Or was there a moment where you felt like, nah, I let me go back and call my colleagues. Like, is there any opening?
There was a period of time, I think within the 2 years, because I was like, oh, if you resign from Shell, you cannot join back within 2 years.
Okay.
So there was that grace period of like, even I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to. And then beyond the 2 years, the thing that stopped me was like, I don't think I'm suited for the office anymore.
Because the lifestyle have changed, you have
My
so much
life-
freedom.
Yeah. And then since then, like reading a lot of books and stuff like that, there was because I was not fulfilled, I was not happy. I had these thoughts that, and looking back, I said like, I don't think it was suicidal, but it was definitely depression. So sometimes I wake up, I'm still in Shell, I wake up and I'm supposed to go to work, and then I leave it very late until like, oh, now I'm late. Then I start showering and go. On the way there, I have fantasies that because there's a bridge that goes to the office, and the bridge collapsed with me on it. I don't want to get injured. I don't want to die, but I just want an excuse to be like, hey, I can't come in today. And then when I cross that bridge and it's fine, I'm like, I guess I have to go to work. So this has happened so often that I thought, like, I can't live like this. I can't go. And there was an associated guilt of like people going, a lot of people would be very grateful to be in your position, and you want to run away the other side. I'm like, yeah, you're right, huh? But after a while, I'm like, I can't
That actually deepens the depression feeling, right? Because you're feeling like, oh, I should be more grateful.
Yeah.
How can I think about this? And I think it's killing you inside without you knowing it.
Yeah.
How long did this last? How long does this last? Like a
year,
a year
2
plus.
years.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was also because I was an active Toastmaster member at the time, and then I remember making a workshop or something like that, like running a workshop and then doing it till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning in the preparation of it. And I still feel like there's this burst of energy. And then I could not go beyond 5:30 p.m. for my actual job.
That actually pays you.
Yeah, it's paying me. It's paying me 3.5 a month, and then this one is like I'm paying them to work.
You're paying so that people will listen to you speak.
I'm paying. What was it like? 400 a year.
Yeah. The
I'm
membership
paying
fee.
400 a year, and working till 4 o'clock in the morning. And this is 3.5 a month, and a minute beyond 5 o'clock, I'm like, I'm not getting paid.
I need to get back to that bridge.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of reflection since, since I got so much time on my hand. The shows are just at night, right? So during the reflection, I'm like, oh, what was it about that job that didn't fulfill me as much as this job? So it was just fundamentally like who I am as a person, and also like what I find interesting and stuff like that. Like I could not fake it for too long.
So there was a lot of like a soul searching kind of thing, like self-discovery.
I think they I'm not saying like I could not find it in that organization. I'm sure like maybe there was a role in there that would be fulfilled. But in my 20s, I was like, I could spend the next few years trying to find it, or I could quit. And that impulsiveness of just like, then I did that. So again, this is one of the things that I would advise people not to do that. But if I had a time machine, would I change? I probably won't. I would still do it. So my dad walked through the door when I was working on a project. I was still in Shell's time, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and he just retired at the time, and he walked through the door and said, "What are you doing?" And then like, "Oh, I have a presentation for BSP tomorrow, so I'm just trying to work out the final details lah." And then he was. You can see in his face, like he was very proud that I was working on a BSP project 2 o'clock in the morning. And then he started sharing how he has a project that he remembers doing 20 years ago. And then he was just saying like what the intricacy of it, and then he was very proud of that project. And this guy was 60, and he remembered a project that he did 20 years ago. And when he recalled it was so much pride. And I remember thinking, I want to turn 60 and talk about a project I did 20 years ago with the same amount of passion. And then I remember thinking, hey, but it's not engineering. And then when he was done, he was like, okay, anyways, I'll let you go. Good luck on the project. And I said, Pa, can I talk to you a little bit? Like, apa? And I told him exactly what I said, what I told you. And he was like, oh, what does that mean? I said, this might be the final year I'm an engineer. And he's like, oh no. So we had a really like long discussion, and one of the things that he said was, right now you're young, you don't have a commitment, you don't have anyone dating anyone serious, no kids and stuff like that, and you think the world is your oyster, right? Can I recommend that you marry someone first? have a few kids, and see whether you want to quit. Shit. And I just stayed quiet and I looked at him and was like, was that your advice? And he's like, you know what? I take it back. That was horrible advice. Yeah, I don't want to get stuck. What if? Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I'm just clinging on to. He's trying to let you know to like really think about your decision. So he told me this. He's like, I have 6 names within the, because he used to work in BSP as well. I have 6 names. They're my colleagues, some of my junior, my friends. And I know they all have different ideas about whether to stay or go from Shell. Talk to all 6 of them. Be more, because right now maybe you've talked to 2 of your friends and 3 of you wants to quit. So that's a very small worldview.
Yep.
So you want to talk about to people who are in a managerial level, directorial level, spread it out. You know, talk to them for like 90 minutes and see what you come up with at the end of it. And at the end of it, because I thought like, maybe I'll give it another year. But at the end of talking to all 6 of them, I'm like, I'm resigning tomorrow, which is not what he wanted.
Guys, Alan is taking a break right now because no one is subscribing and he's just hiding at a corner, weeping his tears and crying. So come, let's help cheer him up. Hit the subscribe button, give some comments, like and share. Alright, I'm gonna ask him to come back to the show. See you. So tell us a little bit more about the early days of BruHaha. Like how easy was it to get some job in? What were the challenges that you were facing to put up a show? Like because it was not something that was common, right, in Brunei at the time.
I think like obviously the first part was to have like, do you have a show? Do you have enough? You want to fill it up with at least 90 minutes of comedy. So then you have to have a good host and a bunch of funny people. You have to have a place, a venue, and then you have to tell other people to convince them to come and pay. And it took us a while. I think maybe the first 2 or 3 shows were free. And our great friend Sean was very annoyed with the fact that it was free. It's like, why? This is so good. Like, yeah, who would want to pay though? It took a while. And then when I said, like, we're charging now. I'm so proud of you. Yeah, $3. $3! I'm so angry.
So $3 was no. The first 3 show was free. The 4th show was $3, was it?
Or something like that. And then there was one show. It was $5, but there was a bucket thing. But if you think we're worth more, then you can put more. So they kind of, some people put in 10, 5, 20. There was one guy who, I think Ruben's brother, I was like, I think the show's worth $3. I'm like, okay. So I'm going to put $10 in. I'm going to take out $7 from it. Wow. Yeah, but it was, but they were all private shows at the time.
I remember that because I remember the second show.
Yes?
Because I was at the second show. And there was a time I felt like, nah, this was not stand-up comedy. I was doing a humor speech.
Yeah, it was, there was the element of like, trying to teach, and that was hard. And there's some, when you're starting a business, there's some element of, for the lack of a better word, is delusion. Because you've this overtly optimistic point of view of just like, yeah, people will come, or like, yeah, people will enjoy this, or yeah, people will. And for me, it was the idea that despite only doing maybe 4 months of open mics in Singapore, reading 3 books on comedy, the goals of me in my 20s thinking, I can teach a workshop about stand-up comedy. Let's do it. And part of me very proud of the young me of doing that. And part of me was like,
what were you thinking?
Yeah. What were you thinking? Who gave you the encouragement to do this? Yeah.
But that was the main revenue, right, for BruHaha. If you don't put up a show, there will be no revenue.
Yeah.
And you will be just creeping into your savings and then just gonna burn it.
But it was also it was. I think the goal was to just break even. It wasn't
For every show, you mean
for
breaking
every
even?
show. We just didn't want to lose money. It's just people spend time to work on their material and perform, so we want to pay them. The venue costs, we want to be able to pay them. So it was never, for the first few years, we never looked at BruHaha as a way to make money. It was just like a fun thing to do, and then people enjoy it, and like, okay, and then they're willing to pay. Then let's make sure everything break even. And then the cost got higher and higher because then we kind of moved to a different space, and while it's a nice space, we needed more light, so a better PA system, or we have to hire someone to make a stage. All of that costs money. So I never looked at BruHaha as making money until we had to make money.
So, okay, one of the tradition that we always ask is, there are three things that I personally believe: passion, money, and time. Choose something that you're passionate about. Do it so well that it can pay you money, and you'll be able to have time that you could plan for, freedom. But you can't have three all at the same time. Not immediately. Sometimes we have to work different ways to get to that point where we're all three, right? So between passion, money, and time, if you have to sacrifice one, which one would that be?
Okay, so when you say these three things, my immediate thing is passion is the number one, and then the other two will sort itself out. Because like, if I have a million things on my plate, but I'm only focusing on what I'm passionate about, above all the things, then the others will fall to the side. So time will make, because like, if I say I have 5 things and they're all, for me, is very important, all 5 of them is important, and all of them I have to do or else I will die. It's like, I have to then sit down, it's like, not all 5. It might just be one. Just have the discipline to just decide what that one is. Pick the one, drop the 4, suddenly there's time. You can relax, you can be, be around with your family more. They have you in your most focus rather than the residual.
Yep.
They have you when you still have energy to be present, then just whatever is at the end of the day. So passion is the first one. And for me also, passion will also then bleed into money. Like if you do something, you're more willing to fail more often because you're like, I know I suck, but I really like this. Skill set goes up. People they value, if it's a skill that people already value, money will come. So out of the 3, I wouldn't drop 1, I'll drop 2. I'll drop the time, I'll drop the money, I'll focus on the passion, because the other 2 will take care of itself.
I know you have given yourself a lot of advices. Like if I would go back and talk to my younger self, this is what I'm going to tell them. Like still do the same thing. But very cliche. Like if you really can go back and tell yourself one thing,
Ooh.
what would that be? Like, is there anything that you would make a change?
Yes, but I still let him do everything. I still let him make his mistakes because it's the best part.
Yeah.
But I would let him know not to be affected about it too much. Because like, play the long game. Know that, because I went through a lot of like emotional turmoil of just thinking that this is it, or like this or nothing. It might affect this decision, that might be it, but it's also like the post whatever decision he make or event that happened, the turmoil, emotional turmoil afterwards. It's just like, oh, why you didn't have to be sad for 3 months because you're still around afterwards. You know what I mean? Like so I would want to tell them like, yeah, feel, but know that you're gonna be around for a long time. So there's no, and other people are gonna be around for a long time. There's no urgency in terms of like all or nothing, because that made me like, I wasted a lot of mental and emotional energy just spiraling. Either something good happens, it's like, this is gonna change my life, or something bad happens, that's it, I'm done. So all of that, if we were to cap it and be like, oh, you wasted a lot of energy being, sad or being too happy when that energy could have been better moving to other things.
Yep.
Focus on other things, or just like, oh, that's great. Now I'm moving on to the next one. So, but you won't listen to me, and that's fine.
I just have to say that so
I
that
just have to
10
say
years later you will say that an old man once told me about this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I got this inspiration from Diary of a CEO where, you always ask a question for the next guest without knowing who's going to be the next guest.
Oh, okay.
So without you knowing who's going to come next, what is that one question that you feel like, I wanted to have an answer to? What would you ask?
What was my question?
I'm going to tell you later.
Oh?
That's the question that we'll give you later.
Oh, okay.
So, but I want you to have your question first so that it does not stick around within the same team.
All right, cool. What is the same question? Am I pretty? Were you angry? Okay, what's the question I would ask a fellow? How do you define happiness, and are you happy?
How do you define happiness, and are you happy? This is a very deep question.
Oh,
No, very good. We're going to keep that. We're going to give a challenge for the next
how
one.
do you hire someone?
Guys, actually, we don't really care whether you like the show or not. But to be honest, I do care. So please hit the like button. Okay? Back to the show. So your question from the last guest was...
Do I know who's the last guest?
You find out. You'll find out soon.
You'll
find out soon because we rearranged that. That was actually the question. Like, what is your biggest fear?
Oh, biggest fear.
Like right now, what is your biggest fear?
Bears.
The thing is, I was actually expecting you to give something like this, which is not the actual answer. Of like, okay, this is a comedian. He's gonna give us. The first answer is not gonna be a serious answer. So we wait for it. But bear was not in this.
Seriously. 2 bears. How long do you think I would have got? 3 bears. Okay. The real answer. So my biggest fear had always been, like, that I accepted a circumstance when in fact a lot of it was still within my control. So, for example, I don't know how it would have happened, but at the end of my life, and then I'll be like, I've just been a bad cook. I'm just who I am as a person. And then a machine or an angelic figure will be like, no, you were a bad cook, and that's not who you are. That you chose that. So that would have devastated me. I was just thinking, like my biggest fear had always been like contributing to destiny when it was skill and effort. And skill, like I said, is something that you can learn, and effort is how fast you can learn it. Whereas I go like, that's just who I am as a person. You know, at the end of my life, I'll be like, well, I'm broke. Maybe that's just my destiny. Maybe that's just who I am as a person. Genetically, it's been written that I would be a broke person. And then somehow AI, or like I said, like comes in and like, no. Your genetics contributed to 0.5% of you being broke. The other 99.5 was you. I'll be devastated. So how that manifests to currently now is that anytime I feel like, that's just who I am, I'll be like, let's take a step back. Is it who you are, or is it a skills issue, or is it an effort issue? What is it? So this has happened when I first wanted to learn how to be good at public speaking. A lot of people are like, some people are confident on stage, some people are not. That's just who you are. And I remember thinking like, you might be right, but I'm gonna try to see whether that's right or not. And then later on, people come up to me and it's like, you're so confident on stage. Maybe that's just who you are. What?
The same person.
Yeah, no, really not the same person. And then I remember thinking, okay, so that's for public speaking. Is it the same for everything else? being a good friend, being a present husband, a caring dad. It's like it's just who you are. It's just a skill issue. So to go back, my fear would have been to find out that I accepted circumstances when it's actually a lot of it was within my control.
It was, I mean, with that said, I lost track of time. I lost track of time because of the conversations that we had. It felt like I get to know you again.
Oh,
I get to know you again, and
that's nice.
a lot of inspiration that I was drawing from there. I think the biggest takeaway for me as an entrepreneur as well, or as someone who's trying to craft my skill in terms of like trainings and all this, is actually how you make sure that you go on to the front, get feedback, and even last 2 years, that kind of experience. I would say like it was a very humbling experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it pushes you to grow further. I think the worst enemy would be us feeling content or feeling great about ourselves, and we stop ourselves from growing. I think that was a very, very good takeaway, a very good reminder for me. So guys, if you wanted to know more, follow Zainal on IG, BruHaha on IG, on TikTok. They will put up some clips. Make sure you drop by and visit one of their shows. And this is not a sponsored ad.
No sponsors? Not yet?
Yes.
What time did you wake up this morning?
10 a.m.
You have 10 seconds to promote yourself to the camera.
Wait, tell what?
10
My name is
seconds
Zainal.
promotion.
I run BruHaha Comedy. More information on BruHaha Comedy. We're on IG and TikTok.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.